Hey guys, let's get more news about Lakers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. The trade, 3 weeks on, Doncic, Davis, and the art of the NBA breakup. A lot of emotions, not much sleep. I'm just glad it's over. Those were Luka Doncic's succinct and surprisingly vulnerable initial thoughts on Tuesday night after his first rendezvous with his former team, the Dallas Mavericks, when his Lakers hosted them in Los Angeles. It was a highly anticipated game, the culmination of weeks of NBA drama after the biggest blockbuster trade in league history, when the 25-year-old was traded for 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis. Davis was sidelined on the bench with an adductor strain on Tuesday, which slightly dampened the dramatic potential. But with both Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison and minority owner Mark Cuban joining Lakers GM Rob Pelinka and owner Jeannie Buss in attendance, the tension was palpable. There's really no such thing as a clean breakup, but this one has been particularly messy, and as much as the basketball itself has started to round into shape for both clubs, the wounds from the parting have only just begun to heal. The wins and losses of the trade have been covered ad nauseum. The basketball of it all, the X's and O's, what may work, what may not, have been dissected to death. The drama, trying to figure out what conspiracy theories could have been at play to set it into motion, has made for unassailably compelling television. But, as is the case in many sports sagas, the human element of it all seems to have become somewhat lost in the shuffle. As anyone who has been unceremoniously and unsuspectingly dumped can attest, even if it's ultimately for the best in the long run, it hurts. Add to that the disorienting vertigo of being uprooted and sent to a new city overnight, and throw in some loud media discourse narrating the entire experience, and it's easy to see why trades aren't ever as simple as shuffling deck chairs. When you move on, or they move on from you, it's very emotional, obviously, and very taxing, LeBron James told reporters on Tuesday when asked how he thought his new teammate handled the emotionally charged circumstances. There are probably a lot of things going on in his head that don't even involve the game itself. And with that said, I thought he handled it tremendously. The Mavericks have responded to widespread criticism for trading away their young perennial MVP candidate and franchise face by, in true post-breakup fashion, dragging Doncic's name through the mud in what seems like an almost daily stream of targeted leaks, alluding to his alleged drinking, lack of dedication to fitness and work ethic, among other gripes. That has certainly fanned the flames of keeping the transaction in the public discourse, even as both teams involved purport to embark on their respective title chases. Awkward as shit was how Doncic's former teammate Kyrie Irving described their first duel as opponents since the trade. And there were certainly plenty of awkward moments, like when a subset of one side of the Crypto.com arena crowd chanted, "Thank you, Nico," referring to the maligned Mavericks GM who was, fortunately, sitting on the opposite side of the arena on the Dallas bench. Running Point Review: Kate Hudson's basketball comedy is flagrantly unfunny. Moments after Isla Gordon, Kate Hudson, is named president of the Los Angeles Waves professional basketball team, her best friend/Waves chief of staff Ollie Lee, Brenda Song, offers a warning along with her congratulations. "You can never F up," she tells Isla. "When a guy gets a big job, he can F up a bunch and it's them getting their C legs or some S. But women have to be perfect right off the bat." That depressing fact gets reiterated many times, without much variation or additional insight, during Running Point's 10-episode season. The simplistic messaging wouldn't matter as much if the show compensated for it with a strong creative offense, but the new Netflix comedy, inspired by the story of Los Angeles Lakers president and owner Jeannie Buss, is puzzlingly listless. Created by Elaine Coe, Mindy Kaling, Ike Barinholtz, and David Stassen, Running Point wastes Hudson's star power and the significant comedic talents of its ensemble on uninspired writing and unlikable characters. All her life, Isla Gordon loved basketball. But she was a girl, and her father, Los Angeles Waves president Jack Gordon, was a sexist bastard, so he groomed her brothers as his successors instead. Eventually, Isla got a job with the Waves, as head of charitable endeavors, while her brothers Cam, Justin Thoreau, Ness, Scott MacArthur, and Sandy, Drew Tarver, continued to run the team from the front office as president, general manager, and chief financial officer, respectively. And yes, they still refuse to listen to Isla's ideas, even though she knows more about basketball than the three of them combined. But when Cam steps down to deal with his crack addiction and names Isla his replacement, she finally gets a shot at proving she should have been the heir apparent all along. Of course, as the first female president of the Waves, she'll face intense and sexist scrutiny as she navigates the Waves' most pressing challenges, taming problematic player Travis Buggs, Chet Hanks, who's actively trying to get traded, helping Coach Brown, Jay Ellis, pull the team out of a slump, and defying her critics, including Ness, Sandy, and a popular sports commentator, John Glazer, who are desperate to see her fail. Isla delivers much of this information in the pilot via a sunny voiceover, punctuated by freeze-frame introductions of characters featuring their name and job title scrawled on the screen in meticulously messy yellow text. The latter technique, which was novel when the Bernie Mac show did it in 2001, is another of Running Point's oddly stale choices. Shaq's take on a potential Lakers/Nuggets playoff matchup is preposterous. Shaquille O'Neal is known for many things, but hard-hitting basketball analysis is not exactly one of them. He was one of the most dominant players in NBA history and had a larger-than-life personality to match. He has had no problem standing out since his retirement, and his basketball takes aren't always great, but he brings plenty of entertainment and comedy value to TNT's Inside the NBA. As a former three-time Finals MVP for the Lakers, O'Neal does offer a unique perspective when it comes to that team and being inside the locker room. He obviously has connections around the NBA to this day, and can occasionally offer some enlightening details that other, frankly better, analysts can't bring to the table. On Tuesday night, the Lakers faced Luka Doncic's former team, the Dallas Mavericks, and pulled out a tight 107-99 victory. Doncic had his first triple-double in a Lakers uniform, but the team showed some flaws and struggled to pull away from a very short-handed Mavs squad. During the post-game show on TNT, the desk was discussing the loaded Western Conference and how the playoffs will shake out. Shaq, Candace Parker, Vince Carter, and Jared Greenberg all seem to agree that matchups will be critical as there isn't a ton of separation after the Thunder. But when pressed on the matchup conversation, O'Neal pivoted and claimed that OKC doesn't care about matchups because they are the 1 seed. He claimed that when you're the top dogs, the locker room isn't concerned with the teams below them as they are confident they'll be able to defeat all comers. Then the conversation pivoted to the Lakers, and Shaq used them as an example to make his matchups point, but did so in an insane way. He claimed that an older team like LA, led by a 40-year-old LeBron James, doesn't want to see a young, athletic team like the Rockets, and that they would rather face Denver. This is just a wild take from Shaq for a number of reasons. First of all, the Nuggets have knocked the Lakers out of the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, losing only one game in the process. They had defeated LA 13 out of 14 times leading up to their Saturday matchup, which the Lakers dominated. That one game certainly shouldn't change the history of this matchup, and while the Lakers are a different team with Doncic, there is no way they want to face a Nuggets team that still employs Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and has completely owned them for the better part of 3 years. Beyond that, for him to use the Rockets as a specific example is hilarious. Houston has had a great season, but this team is completely green and lacking in playoff experience. They are also a very incomplete roster, and this year has been almost experimental. They've purposely been patient in seeing what they have with these young players, but it's pretty clear they're going nowhere with their current offensive situation. And you, fan? What do you think of Shaquille O'Neal's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.